a Democrat from Illinois. His district includes parts of Chicago. So, Congressman, what do you think? What do you think Chicago police should do if there are federal officers on the ground, more of them in Chicago?
Well, look, it's tough because when there's no notification, there's no coordination at all. It's hard to tell them what exactly they should do. But let's remember, this is truly a distraction from inflation, Jeffrey Epstein, foreign policy failures. If it was about law enforcement, they would coordinate. And you have to remember that the $134 million spent in this operation in Los Angeles, Chicago could have hired 2,000 new police officers, increasing our force 20%. Instead, the president canceled something like $800 million in anti-violence programs that have actually worked. So if he wants to coordinate, he wants to work. I got money for bulletproof vests and squad car technology. There's things that the federal government can do to help. This isn't one of them.
What do you think the status of crime is at this point in Chicago? And what could the introduction of some federal presence do?
Look, trends are positive. Crime trends are going down. It's good news, obviously. There's a lot more that needs to be done in all of our cities, including cities run by Republicans where crime is actually higher. So the fact that you've got the National Guard here, we had press conferences here in which law enforcement, the tourism industry, our businesses, all were united saying this is a bad idea. This doesn't help Chicago. Obviously, people want to feel safe. It's an absolutely critical issue, but this is more an action of bluster and distraction of an autocrat. He's talking about armored vehicles being in our cities. It sounds like he's preparing them for having them there whenever he wants, and it's part of the federal presence to have troops on the ground. It's a scary proposition.
Obviously, the legal situation in Washington, D.C. is different with direct federal authority there. You spent a lot of time in Washington. I don't know, actually, if you've been back since the introduction of National Guard troops there and the takeover of the police force. But what's your sense of the direction in crime over the last couple of weeks?
Well, look, let's talk years. I mean, right now, before this presence, crime was trending down to lows that are 30-year lows. Again, a lot more needs to get done. But the kinds of things they're doing is they couldn't afford to do this on an ongoing basis, no matter what the federal budget is. It's not a logical, thoughtful way to do this, right? I mean, the fact of the matter is, let's look at what these troops were actually doing. They're not trained law enforcement officers. They're not making arrests. They're not part of programs that address this, especially and including things like anti-violence and getting guns off the street. So again, it's bluster. It's the beginnings of an autocratic regime wherever he senses it, not based on need, because they'd be in red cities as well. It's based on the president wanting to show people just how tough he is.
You are the co-chair of the Ukraine caucus in the House as well. It's 2 weeks to the day since President Trump met with Volodymyr Zelensky and the leaders of Europe. 2 years plus 3 days since he met with Vladimir Putin. President Trump promised he was going to set up a one-on-one meeting between Zelensky and Putin. That hasn't happened. The Russians giving no indication that it will happen. Where do you think things are headed? I mean, the president, I think, set a 2-week deadline, and that's come and gone. What happens next?
Well, look, we're now past 7 deadlines that the president has set. Putin is dragging this along because in a war of attrition, he wins. He's got a 6-to-1 manpower advantage. Putin understands one thing, strength. He doesn't see it in Trump. Trump hasn't even picked a side he wants to win in this. If Trump wants to do something, he'll do something that will get Putin's attention, not a strongly worded post on some social media.
Congressman Mike Quigley from Illinois. We do appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so much.